I want to say thank you, Monsieur Andreas Neocleus, for putting together such a difficult symposium. I hope it's going to be a great success. To start with, I just want to tell you a little bit about our President Donald Trump, because as you know, he is very, very bad treated by all the media. Donald Trump, I have known him, I have a chance to know Donald Trump over 30 years ago when I lived in New York. I lived in New York and I met Donald Trump one time when we had some of the French businessmen that wanted to buy one of those very high rise on the 30th floor of one of his buildings. He said, I'll make some money, I want to buy, where should I go? I said, well, let's go see the Donald. And we arrived at the building. Building was on construction. The Donald was there with his hat and said, okay, we would like to go up. He said, oh, fine, let's take the elevator. And you know, you dressed in business stuff. Well, there were no elevator. The elevator was a board outside of the building that raised you up to the 30th floor with your chapeau. Let me tell you, it's scary. And when you arrive at the top, nobody could walk. I walked back down 30th floor with my shoes in my hand. Donald Trump also was a businessman, but he was also always interested in politics. First thing, because he had a lot of money. And you know, when you want to run in the United States for Congress or for Senate, you better have a lot of money and get a lot of fundraising, otherwise you had no chance at that time. At that time, you had no chance. And he always gave to the Republican, gave to the Democrat. The man is a man with a big heart. And he still is a man with a big heart. He is really a family man. He took very good care of those children. He raised them well. Donald Trump is a man, nobody drinks. We obey the father, we respect the father, and we work very hard. Eric and Donald Jr., when they were teenagers, were working at the minimum wage for the father. When Donald Trump, we could not imagine that he will enter politics. And he did. He said, this country is going down the drain. And if nobody takes over, we are finished. America really was economically very, very weak. Not only that, we were totally invaded by Chinese product. We had no economy. I wish you had a vision of what was East Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and going down to South Florida. There was no business. There were nothing. This is the man that decided to run for president, and we could not believe it. But when he really announced, I am going to do it, nobody else can do it, we went behind him. With a friend of mine that knows him also for over 30 years, we decided to take over some of the internet media and create different groups to support the president. It was a campaign like, even if I was a member of the Republican Party for a long time, and I had worked with the Tea Party before, I've never seen a campaign like that. It was a campaign done with very little money. Donald Trump did not accept any money from anybody. He did it with his own money. And he went directly to the people. He wiped out completely the way ordinary or all campaign, Senate, Congress, or in the state, or even presidential campaign was made so far. He went, he took his plane, and he went, took the people and called the people. People came by the thousand. Well, I knew since day one that he was going to be elected. I had no doubt about that. And when came the day of the election, you know what happened, he made it. Now, what kind of president will that man will be? Everybody was saying he does not have any international background. Yes, he does. If you come to the Trump Tower, you will meet Chinese people, you will meet people from India, you will meet people from Russia, we will meet all over the world. He had the knowledge of the people all over the world. He knew what he was doing. Another very important thing, that the way he decided to deal with international, break every single law or every single thing that what happened before. Now the man, let me say, whatever is so criticized, is so every day, everybody is telling something wrong. The press, the television are really trying to destroy him. He always flies over the turbulence. He is never depressed. He is a hard-working person. I have to tell you something. In a few years, you will learn on the history of the United States, because the United States is a very young country, as you know. It's kind of a teenager compared to Russia or France or even Cyprus with 1,000 years of history. The United States is a teenager that has all the characteristics and all the faults of the teenager. They really are arrogant. They think they know everything, and they don't know which direction to go. We are now at the crossroad, and Donald Trump will be the one that the history book will say the history of America is before Trump and after Trump. America was a warmonger. America in Iraq, America all over the world, had always an answer with war. We lost a lot of our boys for nothing, just to fight. Donald Trump is a man of peace. Donald Trump is anti-war. Now, he does not like that if you attack, sure, you will answer. But if you don't attack, he is a man of compromise. He likes to sit at the table and give you a chance. He's a man who listens. He listens to everybody and he makes up his mind after. This is the man I knew, and this is the man he's still around. He's still the same thing. He did not change a lot. He has a golden heart. He works with his heart. He does not work like most of the politicians with his wallet and his brain. And that's a big change for America. Now, let me tell you about the politics for Syria. Because Syria is a country I know very well. I am a Republican woman and I entered the political fight, not just at the Donald, but way before. Because, you know, I was a woman very quiet, but like a tea bag with a thread. You don't know how the thread is strong until you put it in boiling water. I had to fight corruption. I married a Syrian man, and I had to fight terrorism. And that was a big job. Syria, I visited Syria. Syria for me was a wonderful country. I really liked it. Beautiful weather, good food, people very friendly, very safe. Unfortunately, the husband was not exactly the typical Syrian. My husband, ex-husband, was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, which I did not know. So I had the privilege of being introduced to some of the guys that was on the list of the CIA or on the list of Al-Qaeda or whatever. So I went through a divorce because my 2 children were in danger. I got death threat. I was threatened to be killed. But when they touch my children, let me tell you, there is no better agent in the CIA, in the FBI, in the Mossad, in the KGB, than a mother when you try to take the children away. I fought. I went to the FBI and told them what I had to say in 1998. I told them, I warned them about their twin tower. Well, I was not very welcome. I was told that I was a doctor wife that did not know what she was talking about, that never we will attack America. Maybe in the other country, our embassy, yes, maybe, but not America. September 11 arrived and the truth was there. It was a change also, that the day America changed. And keep the time, America went down and down and down. We had more terrorist attack. We are also more invasion with people that were not here to help or to integrate. They were here to fight and to take over. I still remember when my husband told me, we are going to destroy America economically, and after that, we will be in power. When you are in that kind of situation, and Syria, I remember I had to go back to Syria for a vacation. I really was happy. And when I was looking in the street of Syria, I see the picture of a guy all over the place. I said, what's wrong with this? I said, it's the president. I said, why? Why do you have the president all over the stuff like that? They said, shh, do not speak the name of the president in the street of Damascus. Oh, why? They will take you to jail. Fine, okay, just shut up. There was a very strange atmosphere. And I hear a group of friends of the family saying, we need to make Syria an Islamic state. We have to get rid of the president, Al-Assad, we want to get rid of it. That's what they wanted to do. What did the administration at that time did to help? Nothing. Syria went to war, you know the story, it's a total disaster. Now Donald Trump decided that at the beginning, because we talk sometimes in Florida with different people, was thinking that, oh, we will tell the Syrian this and this and this. Okay, I'm sorry to say, the Russians have a hand on Syria, and the Russians are not going to let Syria go. I think you should really take the back seat and give the driving wheel to Vladimir Putin, because Vladimir Putin knows what he's doing over there. My brother-in-law was a colonel in the Assad army, and every 2 or 3 times in the early 90s, he was going to Moscow to buy some candies, okay? And that's the way. Russia and Syria were very close. So what did America has to say? No, talk with the people and do it. I heard you talking about what happened recently when Donald Trump decided to withdraw our troops from Syria. It was a tolle. Trump is letting down the Kurds. No, Trump did not let the Kurds down. Trump understood that we had only, I think, if I remember, at least 1,500 troops over there. We did. 1,500 troops will not do anything. And by withdrawing American troops that had nothing to do to start with in Syria, he will open the door for Russia, a stronger power over there, to deal with the conflict. Now, another strength was with Turkey. Turkey, President Erdogan is a very strong man. And I think he has a vision of Turkey that is a little bit too much. I have to say, Donald Trump was very strong with him. Yes, he did. And he told him, he said, Monsieur Erdogan, if you don't stop, I will put sanctions on your economy and you will not recover. Erdogan, I think, understood a little bit the lesson, but it's not enough. It would be very good if we can put a little more pressure on Turkey. Syria will get out of this mess. Donald Trump is a man of peace. He does not want anybody to lose a son or to lose a brother in the war. He is very aware of the terrorist threat in the United States. He is very aware of the ways the extremist Muslims are trying to infiltrate and to take power and to do damage, which is very, very difficult for the 90% of the Muslims that want peace to be able to adjust in America or in another country. All the Muslim people, they are very peaceful. Go to Syria, go to Morocco. I was in Morocco not too long ago. Go there. You meet the people, you don't meet the president or the guy, or you are with the people. They are friendly, they offer you what they have, they are the hospitality is unbelievable. Why those people do they want to kill people? No, they want to live in peace. That minority that is trying to put damage in the country where they live and who wants to lead the world needs to be eradicated. And it's only if the strong power like Russia or the United States get together and fight that terrorism together at the table, that's the only way we will be able to manage and get some peace. I hope I'm trying to give you an image of the president that is a man of heart. Donald Trump has a heart. Donald Trump does not do anything without thinking of the people or what they're going to do. If you look at the meeting he has, he takes his own plane, he goes and he has a rally. The other day in Florida, we had almost 50,000 people that come. Now I can tell you because it's for sure the man is going to be re-elected. The man is going to have another 4 years. And I hope in these 4 years, with the help of the other country, if we can get together and speak peace, we will be able to accomplish something. During the first mandate, it was very, very difficult. When he was elected on November 8th, the day of the election, I was at his party. We had a party on the Trump Tower on the 63rd floor with a very few friends, and we were waiting to see the result. Let me tell you what I see, and that's my image. Donald Trump came, and the television announced Donald Trump is the President of the United States, for sure. He has his number. So he had to go change and take, the speech at the hotel downtown. And we went down to the elevator. This is what he said. It is very humbling. And the man had tears in his eyes. He wiped up his tears downstairs, get up in his kind of limousine, and went down to accept this is the man that I saw, and this is the man he is, and he will be an arm of peace. Let's talk peace. Stop talking war. Let's get together. There is no reason why we cannot sit at a table and talk together and find a solution. We have to do what Ronald Reagan said. Ronald Reagan went to the Democrats that were already a real pain, okay? Not as bad as they are now, but a real pain, and he said, we don't talk about we disagree. Let's talk about what we have in common. The Democrats, they could not say anything. Do you agree with that? But they could say. They had to say, yes, we do. And they finally took an agreement. We will find an agreement. Russia and America will work together to make peace in the Middle East. I'm positive that in 4 years you are going to see a big change. And I invite you all to come to the United States and visit us during the season, because it's better to go during the season at Mar-a-Lago, to come and have dinner with us in Mar-a-Lago and enjoy the company of the people over there. You are going to change your mind about our president. We'll see. Everybody is welcome. I have a group of women. We have hundreds of thousands of women called Working Mother for Donald Trump International. I also created California Veteran for Donald Trump. We have 900 veterans in California that ride their bike all the time and goes for the president. We have students for Trump. We also have lawyers for Trump, even if lawyers in America are not very well appreciated. We have a judicial system that is really not very good, and we are trying to fix it. We have different associations, and everybody work together. One woman here, one man here. We find a friend, we find 10 friends. That's the way we get together, all together. And I would love to welcome you over there. Just my name, and we make a deal, okay? Thank you.